Tottenham's roller coaster of a season is drawing to its conclusion. The Premier League may be nearly done, but Tottenham have a Europa League game to focus on, and that is a big semi-final for the football club. But some news broke this week that is quite monumental ahead of a dramatic summer for Tottenham Hotspur. So today on the Sonny Talk Spurs YouTube channel, we're going to be analysing this news and asking the question, could this be a make or break summer for Tottenham Hotspur? But before we go any further, if you are new to the Sonny Talk Spurs YouTube channel, then drop us a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell and let me know in the comments down below. Are you worried heading into the summer? So yeah, before I get into that breaking news, I just thought I'd talk about, the elephant in the room, which is the main part of what is going to be a dramatic summer. And that is how the club is basically going to function and move forward in the managerial department as well as the executive board. We know there are rumours flying around that Scott Munn, who is the current God knows, is going to potentially be leaving the football club, and we're bringing in a new CEO in former Arsenal CEO Vinay Venkatesham, and this just shows that going into the summer it's going to be monumental. There's going to be lots of changes because Daniel Levy needs to wake up and smell the coffee. What we've seen this season has been below par, and that's coming from a Tottenham point of view. It's been woeful. We have been awful on and off the pitch yet again. And the main thing that he's got to do is he's got to get this next managerial appointment spot on. And it's going to be crazy because the pendulum that has swung on Tottenham's managerial merry-go-round over the last couple of years, from Pochettino to Jose Mourinho, then Nuno Espirito Santo, then Antonio Conte, and then Ange Postecoglou. And, it's up in the air whether Ange stays or goes. If he achieves in the Europa League, he might stay. But there's still news that he could probably be going, depending on the outcome in the Europa League as well. So, Daniel Levy, the next managerial appointment, as I say, has got to be spot on. But worrying thing that I've noticed is all the managers that are linked to Spurs are very different in their styles. So that is a worrying thing as well. And it goes to show that Tottenham now going into this new season next year, the pre-season, it's just going to be fundamental. It's going to be... Next year could be the biggest season in Tottenham's history if we don't get this right. Because we've seen... We were lucky this year that there's worse teams than us. Southampton, Leicester, and also Ipswich. But next year, if Leeds start the season off well, or Burnley, or whoever, you never know. Tottenham could be in another relegation battle if they don't get the appointment spot on. But as I said in the intro, today we're reacting to some monumental news that broke in the last 24 hours. And that is that basically the title of this story, why I'm worried heading into the summer, because it's not just the managerial appointment that needs to be spot on for Spurs. It's the fact that, what we thought was going to happen when it came to transfers might not happen. The news came from Matt Law of The Telegraph, and he said Tottenham are facing the prospect of having to sell to buy this summer, despite the fact the club could spend over 200 million without breaching profit and sustainability rules, aka PSR. Without a significant injection of cash from owners Enic, Spurs are facing a tough summer of trading, which is threatening to severely affect the club's head coach, whether that is Ange Postecoglou or a new appointment. And it also went on to say this, which I think is absolutely balmy. Since Enic's £97.5 million share issue, a total of 13 English clubs have received more owner funding, while the owner of Tottenham Hotspur's rivals, Aston Villa, have poured over 600 million into the club since their 2018 takeover. What is going on? Sell before we buy. First of all, who are we selling? What assets are we selling? Because let me get this straight. We don't want to be selling high profile assets. Your Kulusevskis, your Solankis, Archie Gray, whoever. To make up this money, we've got to be flogging some of the players maybe who we think haven't got a future at Tottenham Hotspur. Basuma, Bentancur. But how much are you seriously going to be able to get for these players? And in the signings, I did a transfer video recently about Tottenham Hotspur. Who are we going to be linked to? It is it is so make or break. It is. I'm getting very, very worried at this stage because I still think Tottenham have a strong squad. Despite, where we are in the Premier League, I still think this team on paper is good. When we have a fit Vicario, a fit Van der Ven, Romero, Jed Spence, Destiny Udogie, players like that, back line like that, and then a front line that could do with some work and maintenance, and a midfield that maybe needs some polishing here and there. Are we, when it comes to our transfer policy, what is it going to be? Are we going to be signing, youngsters like we have for the last couple of years, Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall, who have potential, but we don't know whether they could come good or not? Do we sign, potential Premier League growers in your Brennan Johnsons, your Dominic Solankis, your James Maddisons, or are we signing superstars? The latter, no. But it just goes to show that, the main bit there, and I'll bring it up on the screen again, the fact that Tottenham could spend over 200 million without breaching rules because of how efficiently we're run by Daniel Levy. The sustainability from, the money made for the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and, etc. But the fact that he doesn't want to do that and, there's no investment coming, so it's sort of like we are just co-funding ourselves. And Daniel Levy said this in a recent statement. This is why we're getting left in the dust. This is why, teams like Newcastle, Villa, Nottingham Forest, who are willing, and their owners are willing to push their teams on. We are not part of the Big Six anymore. We are an embarrassment to the Premier League. We are an embarrassment to football because we have one of the only owners in world football. Because the thing is, I was about to say they're one of the only owners in world football who is not willing to push this team in the right direction. Some owners can't. Some owners don't have the facility, or some owners, have to sort of, manage expectation and, have to spend within their means. But, like Everton, for example, in the previous ownership, they sort of were a bit restricted to what they could do, and now they've got new owners. We could go out there and spend. We could go out there and pay the wages. We have the biggest divide between wages and turnover, revenue. But it's just not, we pay up for transfers sometimes. We pay 40 to 60 million for players. We, pay up for managers. We buy managers out of contract. Conte was on 15 million wages. But we don't do it for players. These are the differences between us and the clubs who are higher up in the table than us. Some of them don't pay their managers, but they're paying their wages. They're paying the players what they deserve. And Tottenham, they haven't done that. They've never done that. And that's why players move on and then they go and win a trophy at another club. It's just getting to that stage now where you've got to sit there and go like, what more, us fans can't do anymore. We've protested all season long. We've all wanted Levy out. We all want change. But it's just the same old stuff year in, year out. And until Daniel Levy goes, that's always going to be a problem. I've called for Ange Postecoglou's head a lot this season. But until Daniel Levy goes, we will always have this problem. We need an owner who is willing to take the shackles off and run the football club as a football club. Not another sporting venture, not an entertainment facility, a football club. A football club first and foremost, and the other stuff comes afterwards. And then you'll get success on and off the pitch. We have success off the pitch from revenue and from, turnover and all that sort of stuff. But we're not seeing it on the pitch because it doesn't get relayed back. And that's what frustrates me. But yeah, rant over. But let me know what you think in the comments down below of this news. Are you fuming like me? Or do you think, it makes a lot of sense? And just, I don't know, honestly. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think. Leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And until next time, keep your eyes peeled for a Bodo Glimt preview with Barnaby Slater. Until then, I'll see you guys then. Ciao.